Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 113 until I'm a YouTube millionaire. Trying something a little bit different today. I wrote an essay called Belief and Evidence several years ago. What I decided to do was add an addendum to it in the actual body of the text. All the extended ideas that I have, the extended concepts and understandings that I've developed over the course of 10 to 12 years or so. I'm going to read that to you right now. A belief is a lifelong hypothesis for which you are trying to find evidence. It requires, in a sense, a type of cognitive dissonance, where one must hold within their minds oftentimes conflicting information, accepting all theories as potentially possible, but none, as of yet, having been fully proven to yourself. On the societal level, proof requires evidence. On the individual level, proof is accepting acquired information as evidence. A belief can never be universalized if acquired evidence is not accepted as evidence amongst the entire population vis-a-vis axiom and definition. This is to say, as a result, any individual's belief will always be relegated to the realm of belief, as any attempt at universalization is futile beyond one very important fact: the respect of the free will. Here's the addition. A lifelong hypothesis in that through your journey, through your life story, you will discern with ever-increasing fidelity the accuracy of said hypothesis. What fruits does that belief, or lack thereof, bear? That cognitive dissonance exists in the light of colliding realities. A good example of this is trying to parse out the potential existence or non-existence of extraterrestrial life. Not multidimensional life, but life outside our solar system, in other solar systems, very specifically. While the probabilities would indicate with ever-increasing likelihood that they by rights should be out there, we as yet have not discovered said beings' signals. Why? My addendum to the Drake equation shows that it is really starting to look rather odd, but my beliefs are showing that it really is starting to make sense. I have an itching suspicion that we might be the first intelligent life in the universe, despite the probabilities, despite the peculiarity, due to some unknown variable. Or perhaps known, but we don't know exactly how it works, that has pushed us into this position. It's a certain cognitive dissonance that I keep myself in an effort to ensure that I maintain at least some semblance of objectivity, despite my own personal desires, which are to either be swooped away by benevolent extraterrestrials, or to prove how important we are by being the very first surviving Noah's Ark of life in all existence. This harkens back to Albert Einstein's quote: "There are two possibilities. Either we are alone in the universe, or we are not. Either answer is terrifying." This quote can be attributed to many of our world's great thinkers, in fact, not just Albert Einstein. Proof requires evidence, and acceptance of said evidence as fact. Interpretations are key here. Had the confusion of, say, the drones that flew over Washington, D.C. after President Trump's second time, probably third, being elected, been allowed to persist, a mass hysteria founded upon a conflicting reality would have ensued. It was, in fact, not true that aliens were flying over D.C. They were simply military drones. But we could have been made very confused had it not been parsed out properly. To this point, a belief cannot be universalized if acquired evidence is not accepted as evidence. An example of this is Jesus. He is the very highest good by definition. Why would anyone disagree with this? He literally is God, is love, is truth, is light. is the ultimate example of what we can be as humans if we choose it, as he tells us over and over that we have free will to do so. But despite the incontrovertible evidence that he very much existed 2,000 years ago, more evidence that he existed than Emperor Tiberius did, who was the Roman emperor at that time, by probably a factor of 10, the amount of evidence that Jesus existed, that is. This very simple, plain fact is something that so many still do not accept. The fact that he is clearly, obviously, worthy of our followership by proving beyond any shadow of a doubt that he is the very highest good, still so many refuse to follow him, even if as nothing other than an idea, out of obstinance, pride, foolishness, or some other preconceived notion not stated here. This is to say, Jesus is axiomatically the highest good, yet still so many refuse him. If one's belief structure is tolerant, which is to say it respects the free will, it can be integrated into societal norms, as one story in human history. Using a lowest common denominator approach, truth will be discovered, and that truth is belief accepted by all. All roads lead back to the respect of free will, the respect of your own sovereign power as a conscious actor upon this reality, a human being with infinite value. To disregard this thing is axiomatically to disregard Jesus. To accept this thing is to axiomatically accept Jesus, at least in concept, even if you don't accept his real-world existence. All beliefs, or lack thereof, are our individual stories, our individual roads that led us to where we are in life, the fruits of how we decide to live. The only truth that will persist, that will be accepted by all, is the axiomatic truth, not the egoistic one that a singular individual propounds is the truth, as this is self-defeating ultimately. That is to say, if it is truth, it is building. If it is building, you create with it. You are a co-creator amongst the others that follow the same truth. If your belief is not universal, then it is destructive, self-defeating, and in the grandest scales of time, no matter how much effort you put into obfuscating it, will ultimately lead to erasure, infinite entropy, nothingness. One way or another, whether free will exists or not, and I believe it does, quote-unquote belief, we in human society act as if it does. So to us, it does, which means it does. Belief universalized. Evidence is provided, but what you are willing to accept as evidence matters. The determinist does not accept evidence provided thus far. The evidence is belief. Acting as if free will exists is a pure and simple reality, for it is what has allowed us to build what we have thus far in our existence. It takes easily 10 times the amount of effort to build something than it does to destroy something. Yet we have maintained some semblance of order despite that extreme bias towards chaos. If you need any indication how much easier it is to destroy than it is to build, simply look at the effort a society has to put into building a skyscraper. It takes the combined effort of entire supply chains, several thousands of people working over the course of perhaps decades using advanced and complicated technologies before such a feat can be accomplished. But it takes one well-placed bomb to cause the entire structure to collapse in a matter of minutes. Or dare I say, a jet airplane. Alright guys, that's all I got for today. Hope this enlightened you a little bit. Love y'all. Peace.